Hello and welcome to our spoiler-tastic view of the nature of the Warrens. Oh my, heavy stuff. Um, so, the Warrens are called the Warrens for a reason. In case you don't know, Warrens essentially means like a series of tunnels, and that is the basic shape of the Warrens themselves. So, when it's underground. It's why it's so dark. It, in fact, the sky that people look up, they see stars and everything, is a bit of an illusion, as there is in fact a roof if you were to go high enough. It's far, far up there, but it is indeed up there. In fact, if you were to travel along the right uh, the right amount of it, or the right direction, sorry, you would eventually travel up along the wall, find the roof, and then it curls all the way back, and you get back to where you started. In fact, gravity actually works perfectly well from all angles. You will literally be able to walk all along it. And this causes some interesting effects. One of the main ones is that since gravity pulls from every direction, the closer you get to the center, if you were to like float into the center between the roof and the floor, that is kind of like a zero gravity area. Um, it's almost like a weightless line that can progress through the so if you have the tunnel right here, you can like have a weightless little line that you can travel across that goes through the tunnels. In fact, that's where the crawling moon is hanging out. It is crawling along on that zero gravity edge, spewing its star children off into the sky in hopes that they propagate, um, among other things. Oh dear, stars, so evil. But yeah. So the world is essentially shaped like a tunnel. I say floor and roof, but since gravity works the way it does, it's kind of all relative. But you can also dig down. Uh, and you can dig down for as long as you can. It gets a little weird sometimes, especially when a tunnel like curves or something like that. But regardless, you can continue digging downwards and or upwards. Uh, and continue to find underground caverns. In fact, there are even giant cracks within the world that continue going down and down forever into a seemingly endless pit. And these are referred to collectively as the abyss. Eventually, as you go further down and down, it even becomes colder, like freezing, freezing cold to the point where the few people that have tried to get farther down into the abyss have simply frozen to death. Um, this is a spoiler video. I'll do a brief tangent where the reason it gets cold is because the ancestors of humanity at one point were trying to I might as well just say it. They were trying to destroy Lordroot, hopefully from its source, because they were afraid of it destroying the world for reasons, and and so they attempted to freeze out the world and destroy all the Lordroot, and it worked for a time. However, they couldn't freeze down far enough, and eventually the roots grew back all the way back up to the top. And so now there's just the remnants of that like kind of ancient attempt at destroying the Lordroots, as the abyss still retains some of that ancient freezing. Um, but regardless, kind of irrelevant, but hey. Um, um, so um, yeah, the you can find an abyss, and it continues going downward and downward for who knows how long. Um, and some people speculate that it leads to the void, like an endless emptiness or something like that. Space, who knows? Um, but uh, but yeah. Um, Really, that's kind of uh, that's kind of the true nature of the world revealed. Basically, a series of tubes. They branch off. Some people like to think of them as intestines. Kind of thinking of the Warrens as a living creature. Uh, and they just branch off for as far as people know, infinitely, almost like a fractal or something. Uh, and yeah, the the main thing is though, I mean, obviously, I have a habit of hiding things. I'm really, really bad at just wanting to say absolutely everything about a subject, which is one reason writing the lore has been taking so long. Um, and so, but it's also for a reason, in the sense that this game is supposed to be about exploration, right? And so that means in order for exploration to be interesting, you've got to have mysteries. And so, although we try our best to reveal our hand and show all the little pieces of what makes up the world, we also try to have a few mysteries, and maybe even a few mysteries that we don't ever explain. But instead, we might provide suggestions or something. If you become intimately familiar with the world, it might be cool to like mix things up and change things and adapt it to your own kind of world to explore. So you know, that that's a lot of what I enjoy in adventurous role playing games is finding new things and uh, and having that joy of exploring with your friends and seeing what stupid stuff comes up when you encounter various weird things. Um, but yeah, that's the basic overview of the basic overview. This is the spoiler-tastic overview of the world of the Warrens. Um, uh, I will say though, I will say that the Warrens are not just singular. There's kind of a multi-dimensional thing going on. That happens more as your characters die and explore the drift, which is like a space between spaces. And it's not. It's technically the structure of the Warrens, but I'm gonna save that for another time. Um, but yeah, see you in the next video.